As you know, I'm not a fan of politicians, and once again, here's a reason why. Let me tell you a story. Mr. Bell used to be a member of a think tank, and his raison d'etre was to protect the poor. Those who were on benefits, he would battle every day against cuts in the benefit system,
Yeah.
fighting for the rights of the little guy.
Mm.
He was even president of his think tank called the Resolution Foundation. He entered into politics using this as a platform, fighting for the rights of the worst off in society. Of course, it was a noble cause and a very easy one to understand. And it was on the basis that he was elected as an MP. Then came the £80,000 a year salary and the London waiting on top of that, and a pay rise as he became a minister. Not so surprisingly, the pensions minister of the government. Torsten, I have a mortgage to pay Bell, recently gave an interview about the current situation of the welfare state. Just to make things clear, I'm not defending the welfare state. I'm not condoning it. I just,
Yeah.
this podcast isn't about the welfare state.
No.
It's about how a person can change on a penny,
Yeah.
on a sixpence. So the welfare state, it has its benefits and it has its pitfalls, as does most other things. Well, this little story is how the cat can change its tune. So now, as a pensions minister, Mr. Bell is supporting the changes proposed by Rachel from Accounts, a complete 180-degree spin from his think tank days, in spite of the same think tank, Saint Louis, calculating that with the new changes, between 800,000 and 1.2 million people will lose support of between 4,200 and 6,300 pound per annum by 2029, 2030.
Yeah.
Warning the government that this reform risks causing major income losses for those who are too ill to work. Think tank warned the government. Mr. Bell admitted that he would not be able to get by on the £70 a week personal allowance currently be given to people in this situation, as he has a mortgage to pay.
Oh, right.
Lucky him to have a house and a fat salary at the end of the month to help pay for it. But for the moment, social security payments for him are not on the horizon. So cut they will be.
Right.
So it's basically Torsten Bell. After 6 months in being an MP, he was promoted to pensions minister. He was also always against, before he was elected, he was always against changes in the pension, social security sort of area. And now that he's a pensions minister, he's all for it. Cut, cut, cut.
Right. Yes. Um, okay. Sounds like the classic case of what I call the banana syndrome. Politicians going green and straight, and then come out yellow and bent. Um, yeah, I know it sometimes means different things. Yeah, but um, okay. I mean, it may be that all parliaments in the world are full of people who have good intentions to start with, until they have certain. Look, I'm look, please, I've been brought up in my entire life to try and find the good in people. All right, and it's
Not my cynical face. Just go and say your thing.
yeah, yeah, I know, I'm joking. Yeah, I'm not influenced by Steve much. No, I'm not. Um, yeah, I know I'm making a bit of comedic value from this, but I'd like to believe that there are some politicians or some people in positions of influence who are there for the right reasons. It looks like it's dwindling. somewhat in our current times. Yeah.
Even the Speaker of the House, sir. Even the Speaker of the House.
Yeah. I must
The
admit,
most neutral person in the place. Really?
I don't have a straight face again. Yeah. It is a um I honestly believe, yeah, there's probably one or two. I mean, it was always the old joke, the 90% give the 10% a bad name. There's probably hopefully that going on. The problem is when you get promoted in government, you then have things called collective responsibility. And sorry about this, people. Yeah. Uh, and other things that are occurring. And they are told to behave themselves or lose their job, basically. Yeah. Um, that's all well and fair in a good in maybe a private company where you're beholden to the shareholders. Yeah. What governments don't seem to realise is we elect, they work for us. We elect them to run our business for us, i.e., the United Kingdom Incorporated. Yeah. And I know people are resentful our company, a country is not a business, but it still has finite resources. It still has finite money. Yeah. We are the shareholders. Well, you and I, yeah, we don't contribute necessarily directly there at the moment. Well, you might, but yeah, I do a little bit. But we are the main shareholders, and we are not getting very, very good value.
The money.
Yeah, for money. Yeah.
Mm.
This government does not seem to realise. Okay, there is there's a lack of money at the moment. Okay, there's different reasons. Um, I'd like to suggest to Rachel from accounts, my wife and myself have to run our household accounts. Yeah. We have to pay the rent. We rent. We're not like wealthy people, Brazilians like you, Steve. We can't afford to have a mortgage. I rent. Yeah. It'd be cheaper to have a mortgage, but I can't get the mortgage because I can't afford the down payment. But yeah.
Our mortgage has been paid off, sir, many years ago.
Well, yeah. Happy for you. You should become a politician. Um, uh,
Now I have to pay for my own repairs.
yeah. It's funny thing about Brazil, so do we occasionally. Yeah. It's quicker and easier. Um, yeah, I don't mind it. We have quite a reasonable rent, so I kind of tie that in with cost that against don't want to hire rent, or do I just but yeah, but we have do our household accounts as I was saying. We have to pay our rent, we have to pay for food, feed ourselves, and everything else. Yeah, we can't afford to have guests coming in to stay. Yeah, non-paying guests. So I can't afford to have guests come in and stay and pay and put them up and feed them.
That's what that turnstile was on your front door.
Yeah. Nobody comes in for free here. Yeah, you got to put your five her eyes in. That's it. Yeah, that for that you get a cup of coffee and a bit of cake or bread. Yeah, I think that's reasonable. I don't have many guests for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, but yeah, with you have to look at where you're spending money, where you're wasting money, where maybe you're not giving. My wife and myself, we keep our family and everything else. We have to have a discussion every so often of where we got to save money. She might not be able to go to the hair salon or the manicurist 4 times a month. She has to cut that down to once a month, maybe. Yeah. Um, I can't afford to go out drinking at the bar with the lads every Friday night. Yeah. Yeah. I've had to cut that down to once every 6 months. Yeah. Uh, then I try to find somebody else that's paid for me on that one, but that's a different matter, isn't it, Steve?
Mm.
Um, but it's yeah, we we we're not struggling, but we don't want to be in a position where we are struggling. Yeah. and we have an income. We know what our income is. We try and project our income to understand where we're going to be in 3 months, 6 months' time. Yeah. Given things happen. What happens if something happens in the in-between time? Can we cover it? So we have to plan contingency. Are you listening, Rachel? I'm just trying to give you some advice as your employer. Yes. Yeah. Now, okay, people go in, yeah, with good intentions and everything else, or they might be able to talk a good talk to get elected, to go places, and when they're in there, they have convenient memories. Yeah. I'm not suggesting this gentleman has. I don't know him. I think I've seen him on telly once or twice, but yeah, I'm afraid when a politician speaks now, I tend to drift out. Yeah. What's he trying to tell me? What I want to hear, as opposed to what realities are. Yeah. Um, yeah. Look at your policies, your government, your bosses are having. Yeah. Can you not see there might not be a correlation between what they're doing, what they say they're going to do, and what's actually happening? Yeah. It's quite simple to do. It's simple project management. Yeah. What are our targets? Why aren't we achieving them? Cost effective wise and everything else. Oh, I'm supporting this idea. Maybe I should reevaluate what I'm supporting. Maybe I'm not representing the people who are sponsoring me to be here, best representing them. Yeah. Um, the UK is not making money at the moment. Yeah. We're not bringing in enough, evidently bringing in enough in revenue. Therefore,
On the
we're going to
cusp.
hit.
They say it's on the cusp, and that's just not to say it's in a recession.
Okay. Yeah. What is a technical recession? Every recession is a technical recession. Yeah.
A recession is when you got two quarters
Yeah.
that are negative.
Yeah. That technically is a recession, but they say technically we're not in a recession. I think we're there. I think the UK is there. Yeah. So yeah, okay, you're making cuts. Oh, we have to make these cuts. I would suggest instead of cutting the shareholders would much prefer you to look at where maybe you could be making cuts to things we don't want or require or support. Yeah. And okay. And the problem is we've tried to put representatives there who we hoped would represent us, who are failing us. And it would appear at the moment that even people we were hoped in the future would be best representing us may not be totally doing that now. Yeah. So we shall see. Yeah. Um, it is okay. I admit these people are in a difficult position. They took the job. If they didn't know what the job was before they went and did it, I'd suggest that maybe they do two options. They step down from the job because they can't do it. They can't fulfill their obligations to the shareholders. Yeah. Or they change tact very rapidly, speak out against the people that are not best representing the shareholders, and maybe earn some respect doing it.
Well, would you open your hand to £80,000 a year because you're finding it tough at work? Of course you wouldn't.
Yeah.
And when you've got nobody that's giving you the checks and balances that you need to make you do your job properly,
Mm.
and then you're off to do your own thing. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's the
And
situation.
I was about to say this, that it's the easiest thing in the world now that we can all contact our politicians. Yeah, and I'll keep saying I'm going to write my local person in the UK. Unfortunately, I did a draft of a letter the other day, and circumstances changed. The letter was already out of date just before I was going to push the send button. I've got to revise it. Yeah. I'm also waiting probably until next week now to see what occurs in the interim because there might be more that's happening. Yeah. I don't really want to open up and send my politician. I would hope my local politician is very busy representing the good people who vote. Well, he got in with a third of the votes. only about 30% of the local population voted for this gentleman. Yeah. So he's at,
Just him being elected, he's got a flea. He's got a flea behind his ear.
yeah, he's already on a loser. He's not by there by popular consent. But
No,
that's
that's the way it goes.
that's the rules of the game in the UK. Yeah, I'm afraid. But he still represents me, even if he wouldn't have been my first choice. And I'm not suggesting the gentleman concerned is a bad person. Yeah, I just said he wouldn't have been my first choice. But he's still under the rules of the game, my elected person, and me as a shareholder, he still represents me. Yeah. Therefore, yeah, and I would suggest to anyone listening, if you're dissatisfied, I'm going to be honest, to a point, the politicians, they live in a Westminster bubble, which is quite understandable.
I mean, what the whole point of this podcast, Mark, was just to say
Yeah,
that politician he says one thing to get elected.
yeah,
Once he's elected and he's being is that his
yeah. But
backside kissed
but
by so many different people.
well,
He'll support the absolutely opposite point of view.
yeah, I
And
mean, this is
that to me is a fault of personality. So
well,
personality failure,
yeah,
grossly.
I mean, us as the shareholders maybe should be voicing our concerns. I won't say if you see your local politician go down the street yell in his face. I wouldn't advocate that at all. Maybe have a gentle word with him.
Well, I've gone beyond that because, like I said, I just don't have any respect for them anymore. I just let them get on with it. And the people of the UK, when they vote for these people, they have a choice. The
Yeah,
people of the UK have a choice, and if they make it. Once again, a person on Facebook said that they were disappointed in the current government. And I said to them, I said, look, I told you this right years ago or
yeah,
months ago before the elections. I said, be
yeah.
careful what you wish for.
Mm.
And they wished for it. And of course, that's now they've got what they've got.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's the way it goes. As I was saying, that maybe we should be informing our politicians, even a paragraph of an email to say, give a list of things you're disgruntled with. At least you're informing them, you're doing your part in the as a shareholder obligation. I just I don't want people being angry. I want people to actually be engaged to try and explain to these people. Yeah, they might have to toe their party line, in which case, maybe they should be thinking about what their actual beliefs are.
Yeah. If they toe the party line above the needs of their constituents,
Mm.
that's when they lose me.
Well, a lot aren't. I mean, to a lot of the current administration or the people, the Labour, to be honest, Labour politicians aren't at the moment. They are beginning to speak out a little bit. Probably a few.
They have to because of the constituents.
Yeah, and this is it. And they and
Well,
maybe
it's not because they want that's not because they want well for the constituents. It's because they think the next time the elections come around, they'll get voted out.